Hey everybody, how's it? Aloha. Okay, something new. When I mean new, I think it's about 5 or 6 months ago. Architects released Black Lungs. Now I did one of their pieces of work a few months ago, and I remember that I was really super impressed with everything across the board in what I would call new age production, arrangement, composition, sound, performances and stuff. And you know, for me it's really super cool to listen to really recent releases, especially in metal and prog like that. And then I A/B, since I'm old enough to remember, because I am your old composer, hence the Decomposer Lounge, A/B engineering techniques, some things that are still, you know, a staple in engineering, or getting guitar sounds or bass sounds or vocals and stuff. And of course a lot of things that have progressed because of technology and the fact that the industry changes, you know, and the creative work of all these musicians and engineers and composers and arrangers change along with it. So I look forward to that experience. Thank you guys so much for your comments. Thank you guys for those of you who have bought me a cup of coffee. But if you want to support the channel, you want to buy me a cup of coffee, you know, if there's any ads that run on these videos, it doesn't support the coffee. It doesn't support the coffee. So if you want to buy me a cup of coffee, the link will be below. And the link for Architects, Black Lungs, Spotify, and merch will also be down below. Always supporting the record companies, the bands, the musicians, and everybody involved. All right, let's do this. Architects, Black Lungs. All right. In it to a minute to win it. Perfect song construction. They were into the hook within a minute. And you know, I say that across my videos, and that's the reminiscence of the old, through the radios, through my videos, Bobo. That is because, it, as I always say, it comes from the old record company mentality that, you know, radio play is try to get into the hook within a minute. I liked how they started off really super, like there was that techie loop, you know, just for one measure that kind of established it. And I said, okay, this is Architects. And then of course they kill us with that super fun riff. And I say it's fun because it's not only is it kind of slight syncopated to the rhythm and stuff like that, but the notes that they're choosing in that up down bend that's coming up, it starts on I think it sounds like one of those notes they have bent up, and then they hit it and bring it down, kind of a thing. I play a little bit of guitar, so I kind of think and listen at the same time, and when it comes, well, how did they do that? And then, so they come in with this very modern, updated sound that I was just talking about. The precision in the isolation of the arrangements that give it so much more room to breathe, as powerful as it is. Really being able to shove those guitars up and hot here. Excuse me. I also noticed that in the intro, as the power came in, there was a little bit of a, sounded like there was a synth arrangement in the background that was just holding just some sustain, but very light. Then when they come in with the power and the vocals obviously opening up with more of a chorus hook vibe. In other words, very powerful vocals right up front, and with harmonies. You know, the harmonies are sizzling, you know, but they're sunk. They're not like pop harmonies, are really kind of in your face, and sometimes pop style harmonies actually are just as in equal level. as the vocalist level and stuff. These are sunk in the back, so I was going, man, are they opening up with the hook or something? And then as they bring it down, now all of a sudden it went into, I don't know if you want to call it an trap EDM kind of vibe. You know, when there was no organic music happening there except for the singer, there was a rhythm going on in the background, like a percussive rhythm going in the background, and it was all kind of electric. And then they broke into, obviously they got back into the whole band loaded up again and fired as they, you know, went through finishing their verse, and then it explodes again into the hook. And that hook and that chord change and stuff, right in it to a minute, within the minute to win it, really super catchy. But I just wanted to bring that up. I really love the fact that they've already introduced us to the fact that they're going to give us some dynamics in their arrangements. And that's what I liked about what I heard also in that middle section where it broke down into more of the synthy kind of vibe, and then they lit it back up and then brought us into the hook and stuff. Super cool.
It's enough to plague a saint. Give us a Judas, then we can deify. Yeah, we all pretend we're the renegades, so wash us away, karate players. Think about 'cause time's running out. There's no doubt that the end is coming. You're gonna taste the ash, you're gonna taste the dust. 'Cause this one is dying in our arms. No wheels are turning. What would you do to stay alive if the plan was burning? You wanna make it out of reality. Blow your lungs for the young if they dare to breathe. Dare to breathe. Sure sounds like heaven to me. You gotta cut the roots to kill the weeds. No place to go if we don't believe. If we don't believe. Good Lord, it's enough to plague a saint.
Okay, well, obviously we're going into some kind of a bridge or turnaround here before maybe a solo or the vamp of the song or the outro. I want to bring up too that there was a little area at the very beginning, and they also repeated engineering dynamics where the riff, of course I'm not doing it identical. What they did in the very beginning is there was a section where it all cleared out and broke away, and then that was sent to us in a mono signal, crushed and pulled back, and then it bloomed and exploded, and they exploded back out into the hard left, hard right guitars. Love that here. That kind of, you know, the sensation it gives us in here is what triggers, you know, theater of the mind. You know, we all think of something completely different. You, me, the next person, you know, use the pure listener, me, composer. It doesn't matter at what level we listen to music, but our minds color in images when we listen to stuff, you know, and even if you think it doesn't, trust me, it does, without any extra help, if you know what I mean. But when the engineering takes you through these kind of changes in the composition, like they just did in this again, when they brought his voice down, there was some light, you know, synth arrangements that were happening and stuff, but they kept the drums in there nice and tight this time around, but they pull his voice back just to give you that like behind the abyss vibe in here, and it's like a slingshot, pull the voice back, and then pew, hook, you know, and then they hit us with it, and I really love those dynamics and stuff. That's really super sick. All right, let's see what these guys have for us here.
Lord, it's enough to plague a saint. Lord, it's enough to plague a saint. Post-love, post-truth, justice lays bound and black bag ready for the guillotine. We cannot bring Gilly when they ask where we are when the guns to the wings of the phoenix. They got the wings of the phoenix. Where will we wrestle the world from the falls and the golden?
Holy shit. Okay, so you guys know me. What does this mean? Chicken skin, goosebumps. Man, that section, actually, that rhythmical section, that riff. First, let's just talk about how they got into it. How everything broke itself back down into this really weird, overly compressed, overdriven, sizzly drum loop. Whether it was manufactured, whether it's a drum loop that came from a synth that they went ahead and they compressed it and made it very explosive sounding but sizzly, or if they actually did it with the kit and maneuvered all that through engineering. That whole change and everything that was happening there, once again, really super rich, detailed dynamics in this song as far as composition and how they're building it and pulling you in and out of this ride. And then the build with the vocals and the vocals and the vocals, and it got powerful, more and powerful. I'm thinking, okay, they're going to go back to the original riff, or maybe, and then they hit us with a completely different riff that was so powerful, and it created what I consider silent riffs. You know, it's silent. For me, silence between notes is as powerful than going that boom, boom. You know, and hard silence in there. While, you know, the drum is keeping whatever rhythm it is, that silence is so important, and it actually does do something to your experience, you know, your listening experience. I personally, I wanted to hear about another 16 bars of that section. Like, I would have just lost my nuggets if I just would have heard, like, them continue that. And, of course, for me, you know, maybe a guitar solo or something. But even if they didn't, and they just let that run for another 16 bars, and you just rinse in that whole thing, I was lit from that. I mean, I was like, oh, that's killer. And what's really cool about that is that effect of getting, for me, my experience in getting the chicken skin on this thing was the fact that it came because I had already been kind of saturated with, you know, 3 minutes of this song in a particular way. And then they took us down a completely different journey with that riff, with you know, the way it was written. And it was obviously much more simple, a lot more simple of a riff musically than the number one riff, the main riff they open with and they close with. But remember what I say, simple isn't always easy. So I have all these little gitchy things in my head. I say, well, yeah, that's simple, but that's not easy, man. And to create that space there, you know, I don't know, that was such a powerful section that, you know, I hope that people, as they listen to this song, you know, they enjoy that trip to get to that section. And then obviously they close it out with the riff and everything that was opening, and that was perfectly sewn up. So really super dug this Black Lungs by Architects. All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the cups of coffee for those of you who have bought it for me. It also helps what I do with the kids in the hospitals. And headsets, I still have people asking. These are AKG 240s. Been using these since the Last Supper, it seems like. And so anyhow, you guys take care of yourself. Like usual, I'm still having fun. I'm not getting burned out. I'm going to continue doing this. And thank you guys for continually supporting me for doing this. With the comments or whatever, everything. What's my line? The older I get, the better I was. All right, guys. Aloha. All right.